Well, howdy, howdy, howdy. Nearly seniors is near. Greetings, boys, girls, and all of our non-binary friends, and welcome to this a brand new day. And remember, no matter who you are valid. I have things written down over on my monitor, which is far away. I need to make sure I don't bonk into my table leg, because everything is precariously balanced, and if I smack the table, the legs move, and then everything's off balance. Yay! Hopefully your day has been a good one. I went out for walkies, and somebody who had come by here and was on campus, and like any place that you pay to stay, if you don't pay to stay, you're not really a welcome person unless you're a visitor. And we had a non-visitor on, and when I went to go walkies, I went down to the trail, and there they were with their bicycle taking up the whole trail. And when there's only one person without a bicycle, there's often not enough space to pass because it's a one-person trail, so I had to turn around and go all the way back. At the same time, on the first day that my heart did something, it did something painful. It hurt. And then it did flippity-floppity stuff for the rest of that day. I was worried, but my heart's done weird stuff my whole life, and I'm still kind of worried now. But the second day, it didn't hurt, but it was doing flippity-floppity stuff. Today, it's done nothing really. And I have gone charging on trails during all three of these times, and my heart's been fine during that. And in fact, the times that it's usually gone all flippity-floppity is when I'm not doing anything. So, if it starts up doing silly stuff today, or does anything that hurts, I'm off to the ER, because then that's an indication of a real problem. But if it does nothing, and I've got doctor's appointments coming up, and I'm going to bring up stuff, and I've got an echocardiogram that they're supposed to be calling me to schedule me for. So we're looking at heart stuff. I'm not just going, oh gosh, should I never take care of this, or should I go to the emergency room? So don't worry, I don't want to die, and so I'm working on it. Yay. But let me check my list over here, which is, first thing up there, I want to talk about the game Morrowind. Partly because I like the character, the bad guy, the villain of the game, Dagoth, because all the way in the game, nobody's black and white. None of the good guys are all just good guys. There's a bunch of not good stuff with them too. And the bad guys are usually not black and white, I can't speak English. They're not black and white, A or B, good guy, bad guy. The villain isn't just a cartoon villain, bad guy, or flip the switch, cartoon villain, cartoon good guy. Hopefully I made sense there, because I was starting to lose the script and my brain was failing me entirely. But Dagoth of Morrowind is horrendously racist, incredibly racist, is a racial purity type villain. At the same time, almost kind of has a point. This is why the bad guy, Dagoth is not wrong, while at the same time isn't exactly right either. And I've talked about this before, but I've been really thinking about this for other reasons. But not wrong, because he wants Morrowind to be for the Dunmer. He doesn't want any of the other races coming in. Morrowind belongs to the Dunmer. You don't kick us out. We're not part of your legion. We have a history. Morrowind belongs to the Dunmer. And in that, he's right. Morrowind should belong to the Dunmer. It shouldn't be made a part of anything if they don't want to be. and they don't want to be on the whole. And so Dagoth is trying to get rid of everyone out of Morrowind. The way he's doing it is the problem, because while he's right, he's also wrong. Because in the context of the history of the Elder Scrolls, one of the earlier emperors had created a giant magical mech, and then used this mech to go stomping on the other races and made the empire. It was the Numidium. Used that thing to stomp on stuff. A giant mech. And Dagoth is creating another giant mech. A magically created one with the heart of a god, the Numidium. Use it to stomp on the other races and get them out of Morrowind. He's not wrong, but he's not really right either. And the thing is, the reason I bring it up is there are a lot of channels that use AI voices for like characters like Dagoth. And the ones that I really like are the ones that play him straight. He may use modern vernacular, anachronistic language, but still being played straight. Dagoth may be using a modern slang term to make a point, but the point is the point, not the anachronistic language. And so they play the character straight. And I don't know why, but human bigotry infuriates me. I hate it. I don't see anything funny about human bigotry. It's just, I get frustrated, I get angry. But a racial purist bigot like Dagoth I find hysterical. Even and especially when he dips into the most bigoted stuff. Like he refers to in most of these things, Argonians and Khajiit are just farm tools. They're not people, they're just farm tools. Not even really high enough up to be even slaves, really, just tools. And then doesn't have much thought for the other races because they're not Dunmer. So if you're not Dunmer, you don't count. A lot of them have him treating Khajiit. Well, there's a joke video where he's the Nerevarine, Induril Nerevar, the rebirth of, comes to visit and is an Argonian, and is just, Dagoth is disappointed and keeps sticking his foot in his mouth because he's trying not to be a bigot, and keeps failing until it's like, look, can we just fight? This is really making me uncomfortable. But then someone had done another one where the Nerevar was a Khajiit. And instead of going into, oh, you can't do this, why are they doing this, I'm not a bigot, I'm sorry I said this, he just goes into a long rant about, no, this is too much. A Khajiit, we're supposed to be dealing with people, not animals, and just going off on the Khajiit. The one video that was all about ranking the races, yeah, didn't have a very high view of Argonians. Again, farm tools. But when it came up to Khajiit, it was just, no, we're not doing this. We're rating people, not animals. And then next. And then the blatant bigotry and racism, just, I love it. I lap it up like it's ice cream when it's Dagoth and fictional. Again, real life bigotry with human people in the meat space world. No. But when it gets to fictional stuff, as long as it fits the character and the setting, and boy does it fit Dagoth Ur, give me more. So yeah, I watch a lot of these Dagoth Ur AI channels because it's just the AI voice. The script is not AI scripting because it's stuff that's actually funny. And it's not just weird. And the character is consistent. So there is work, and a lot of these voices you have to go through and then really tweak them to make sure that they sound just right. Because they don't have a speech pattern. They'll say whatever is there the way they think it should be said. So you gotta make sure to correct them when they're wrong. So somebody does a lot of work with those, and so it's good. Yay! But again, they play him as straight and as who he is, a horrible bigot. But at the same time, the one that I was so impressed by, and I still think about it now, there's a book that you may have seen people play, and recently there's a character, Josh Strike Hayes, a character, a YouTuber, who's very popular, does good stuff, and he's been playing Morrowind as an Argonian, but he's been using the Lusty Argonian Maid book and such as sort of the basis for his character. And so, because she's very adept at handling spears and all. But Dagoth Ur, when he was reading this, had nothing but scorn for it, and to be honest, I agree. I can't do more than just paraphrase it, but he's just talking about how the book is just self-inserted by the character. Ooh, my heart did a flippity-floppity, but we shall see, because my heart also does that normally, just once every while. Insert character by the author. But then when he got to the Argonian character, and then he was like, and her name lifts her tail. And then he was just, he's like, look, I'm not the best one to talk about racial equality. Hippity hoppity, lizards are property. But this name, even I would have the common decency to find out and use her real name. I'm going to throw this book into the volcano, and somebody should stop this character before he hurts someone again. I was like, whoa, whoa. I did not expect that. But I agree 100%. So thumbs up on that. What else do I have on my list after that? Well, there's a lot of things, so I'm going to talk about this one. The other day when I was out walking, just yesterday, it was pretty breezy, kind of cold. And I was going onto the trail. Where I was, the trees were swaying pretty high. There are a lot of thinner trees. Where I was, I heard it loud, thump, and then a grinding, deep grindy sound from up above. And in a huge area, I'm talking about a block area, stuff started raining down, bits of leaves and such. And I looked up, and this other fellow who was away was looking up at it, because the trees were like, oh boy, where do I run? I don't want to run into the wrong place. So I walked a little further, but then I turned and looked up, and I saw this glint of something falling. And right between my eyelids, right between my eyelashes, plonk, right into my eye. And my eye bothered me all last night. It still bugs me now. I can't find anything in there. So either it's a very tiny piece of something that's just hidden up high in the edge between my eyelid and eye, or it just irritated and scratched up something before it got naturally gotten rid of by my eye, and now I'm just feeling just the irritation of it healing. or maybe a bit of scar tissue until that gets moved back in. So that was great timing to look up at Funk. I mean, I've even had bugs try to get into my eyes. They've usually been caught in my eyelashes, so that was pretty impressive. And the rest of on my list, or other things on my list. I am obsessed by rice. I talked about my rice, and I posted about it last night because this is true. Also, as part of that, I've talked about how what you eat affects your flora and fauna, your microbial flora and fauna in your gut. So if you eat junk, Little Debbie snack cakes, or fast food, whatever, those microbes that like that, they get more of them. And you have neural tissue, you have neural tissue in your gut. And your gut microbes will affect your thinking. So if you have a lot of microbes in your gut that like McDonald's, you're going to be craving junk like McDonald's. If you eat a lot of things like carrots and such, you're going to crave carrots and such. For the longest time, I have had to fight cravings for things like Little Debbie snack cakes. It's not the Little Debbie snack cakes. I've got the association of snack cake junk craving with Little Debbie's. I'm just craving junk. I've been fighting that for a while now because stress eating got me into the issue of being too fat now. I'm at like 220 right now. I used to be 170. I want to get back to that. But I was fighting those cravings. Now that I'm eating rice, now that I'm eating rice, when I am not eating rice, I'm thinking about when I can next eat some rice. When I am eating rice, I'm thinking about how good the rice is that I'm eating and wishing I could eat more rice. When I don't have rice in my refrigerator waiting to be eaten, I am making more rice. I went the long way to the store today. I bought more rice. I am obsessed with rice. It's constant. When I go to the store, do I crave candy from the candy aisle? I used to. No, I walk into the candy aisle and I want to eat rice. I go into the bread aisle where I used to have to fight to not buy Little Debbie's. I don't want to buy Little Debbie's. I want to eat some rice. I go to the snack aisle. I've even got some chips because I forced myself to buy something because I didn't want to buy chips. I wanted to eat rice. All I want to eat is rice. So I eat other things with it, chili, and then I eat stuff like, extra vegetables, fruit, canned stuff, so I can. But I got my slow cooker here. It's sitting in another place. Got the slow cooker. I want to start cooking carrots, potatoes, and such so that I can chew them with my partially broken dentures. So I'm going to have more stuff, but oh my God, all I want to do is eat rice. And I've gotten my alchemical concoctions down to an almost science. When I have basmati or jasmine brown rice, I use a combination of 2 types of rice vinegar. Mild rice vinegar and medium. I use it on 2-to-1 of 2 units of mild with 1 of medium, and I am not stingy when I'm pouring it in. And then goes in some Tabasco on top of Tabasco, soy sauce, and then I put in the Tabasco, shake in a whole bunch of minced garlic, and then knock in some ginger. And then close it up after stirring it with the rice in there, and then I wait until it starts to get really bubbly. And that's when I shake in the sweet basil, the rosemary, and the thyme. Now, when I'm done cooking it, because I've been in the room as it cooks, it just smells like, why, I've got a phone call, so I'll be right back. Yay for spam phone calls. Now, where was I? Oh, yes. When I take it out of the rice cooker, it's got the medium smell of the rice, and then mild and subtle smell of the seasoning. Now, I let it cool down before I put it into the refrigerator. Takes about 20 minutes or so, but then, after it's cooled down, after the scents have cleared out a little bit here, now that the smell has had a chance to concentrate a bit, when I open it up, oh my God, I have never smelled anything so freaking good. Ah. So, when I put it in with chili, I get the chili flavor, of course. It loses a lot of the flavor of the rice and stuff, so mostly becomes filler for when I put it into like chili. Or I went and had some of that the sloppy Joe stuff. That's what it was, like manwich or whatever. And that I tried that with rice. And yeah, it's filler. It just overpowers the taste. With chili, it's okay. With that manwich stuff, no. But by itself, with a little soy sauce, all I want to do is eat rice. My God, I am just obsessed with rice. And what else on my list? Oh yes, this is pretty much going to be the last part of it because I don't want to talk forever and ever. But one of the things that my therapist talks about to do as a thing to try is narrative therapy. You take an issue in your life and you write about it. Or you do any sort of media where you're getting it from inside of here to out here. And you're not just going straight one-to-one. If it's you have, let's say, some form of something nasty happen to you when you were a child, you leave that part to your imagination, whatever it could be. Well, you're in your situation now because of this, but you could write a story where somebody who had that happen tried something else and had a different output. Or they tried something different and it didn't happen. And you can deal with it by forming and pushing it where you would like to take the narrative, because you can't change reality. You can't change what's happened in the world. All you can change is how you deal with it. All you can do is change how you think about it, your perception of it, the narrative of it. When people say perception is reality, they don't mean you are changing reality. It's just changing how you deal with what's happened. And narrative therapy lets you form that and change things. Now, one of the awful things that's happened in my life, I've talked about this, is my wife died when I was 52 years old, after we were married for 12 years, and for 10 years she spent dying. At 5 years into it, she broke down crying at how it was so hard just to live every day. And then just about a year before she died, she broke down again about just how hard it was just living. And then she wasn't after 12 years. One of the things I do with a lot of the things in my setting is a form of narrative therapy. I have talked about, there's the character Iron John. Iron John was a character from where they were from. There were organics and inorganic people. You were still people, whether you're organic or inorganic, just because of the way that things were done and created. You had human. You were human. The thing that makes you human made them human. And they lasted with their frames and the things that made them think as long as an organic person did. So people were just people. And Iron John was a young man. And he's an inorganic, but he proved himself where he worked as both on the floor and in a managerial position, being able to do both almost effortlessly. Promoted and then given a new form of shell for his body that was made out of a new alloy that they call KFAB, which was a keratin ferrous alloy that was, they said it would last for 100,000 years before it would even begin to show wear and tear. But who would be around in 100,000 years? So he got a body made out of this, and things were going well. He had a girlfriend. He would go to the city and stay for a weekend. She would come out and stay for a weekend. They were going to get hitched and become a couple. Because they were on the razor's edge, there are different layers. And while they couldn't travel individually via glamours, they had machines that would do it. You can also have this static energy that surrounds the two universes that bounce together, and they filled the space between them with the static energy. The static energy was what forms razor's edges. There can be the balls of this energy that gather and float and drift. When they hit, they can be bad or they can be good. And where Iron John was, because of his situation, who he was, where he was, what was happening, who can say why, a huge amount of this energy began being funneled into him. It took about 10,000 years for this to happen. During this time, everything on this layer lost its ability to interact with glamours. So all of a sudden, everyone who lived on God's above, I keep getting this thick spit that gathers because I have to glue my dentures in. I don't want to just but they lose the ability to use glamours because this energy is being funneled in. So he's trapped there. Everybody's trapped there. His girlfriend is in the city that they're trapped from. And nothing ever comes to rescue them. And all the organics start to die of old age, and all the inorganics start to fall apart from old age, and after about 120 years, Iron John is alone, wondering why his body, his mind hasn't decayed. But he turns on a radio, and thinking that he's just saying goodbye to everything, he puts himself into low power mode to wake up if anything ever comes by. And when he does wake up and finds himself buried under like dead plants and live plants and dirt and stuff, and is able to stand and get rid of all this junk, and he checks his UI, his atomic pile, his atomic clock, and it's been 1.4 million years. And he's still as functional as the day his shell came off the factory line, and he's still thinking as well as he should. And all of that stuff, the KFAB stuff that was the whole industrial plant, there's just small bits and pieces left here and there. Hey, some of it lasted 1.4 million years. But eventually, He gets found by a traveler. That's why he woke up. He ends up going back to Apple Rock. But every time he thinks of his past, he gets this pain in his chest. You hear a loud clanging from his chest, and he just hurts. But it hurts so much, and he cannot put down this pain, and eventually he becomes paralyzed for about a year out in the woods. Just paralyzed, unable to move forward. Because when you're carrying a ball of pain, eventually you can't move forward into the future. You're stuck, you're paralyzed, you're trapped. And in his case, it was permanent, not permanent, it was physical. And it took him a long time to get out of that, to put down his ball of pain, to be able to reconcile with the present so that he could move into the future. And that's what it took for me to be able to put down my ball of pain so I could reconcile with the present and move on into the future. Narrative therapy. Well, I'm like a half hour into this or more, and I still got stuff written down, but for every one of my Patreon patrons, thumbs up, thank you, it is appreciated. I can't put your names up on here, but if I could, I would. And when you look in the mirror, you are beautiful and awesome. For everybody that leaves me a comment, I'd answer more than I can, but I can't. So, but each and everything that is written, I read as many as I can find. I thumbs up and heart each one of them. It is appreciated, each and every one of you. So I gotta edit, I gotta render, I gotta upload, and it's 1:30, so this is gonna be late. I don't know if I'm gonna be able to get anything at all done. I have just been dealing with trying to be alive. Yeah. So, until we meet again, you take care. Have a great day today. I will see you on the flip side, and that is indeed a very good rice obsession. Oh, God, I hope I don't die. I mean, I'm gonna die. We're all gonna die. I mean, I hope I don't die, like, soon because of, like, cardiac issues that I should have taken care of by going to the doctor, except I've had this sort of thing happen my whole life. I can't judge anything. Joy.